What's up, folks? I'm Kenyon L. O'Brien,
And I'm Roger Omeus Jr., and we're from OMEproTv.
and you are tuning into hashtag Verse TV.
Be sure to comment, thumbs up, share, and subscribe.
Week 111, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? If you hear my voice and you know what that means, it's time for all the tea right here on Verse TV with your boy 12 Weeks Music. So let's get right into it. Writer, producer, director, Roger Omeus. You have been spinning gold in the movie industry for some time now, sir. Finding Me to Finding Me Truth, Finding Me the series, James and Danielle.
Philly.
Okay, it's just spelled differently. I need to be, if I don't write it down, I get messed up. And now, Becca Long Talks with Myself, featuring Morris Chadwick, of course, right here with us today, brought to life by Kenyon L. O'Brien. Those are just a few of the members of the OMEproTv production. So we're going to get all the tea, y'all. We here one-on-one, and we want to know all the tea from both of you guys. So we're going to start with you in this question right now, Roger. For our audience out there who may not yet know where you're from, can you tell us where you're from and what you love most about your origin story?
Born Brooklyn, New York, raised in New Jersey.
PK, okay.
First generation Haitian American. And what I love about my background is something that my dad instilled in me was to be proud of where I came from, where our family came from, which is Haiti, and the rich history that comes along with that, and to be proud to be Black. And he instilled that in me as a child, and I carry that on with my own life, and I try to influence that as much as I can in my stories and even in the relationships of friendships and people that I know.
All right, now that's how I say. Okay, we out here in these streets. All right, I love it. So same thing for you, Kenyon. For audience who may not yet know where you're from, can you tell people where you're from and tell us what you love most about your origin story?
Well, I am from Yonkers, New York, and I was raised
Yonkers. Woo, come on.
And I was raised in Delaware. Big contrast. What I love most about my origin story is probably that I was raised very independent, which it can kind of be like a bad thing because you never want to ask for help because you're too independent.
Right.
But I guess I was like the typical, if you know the term, latchkey kid. My mom's always at work trying to provide for me, so I always seemed like a hardworking woman doing what she needed to do, and that's kind of trickled down onto me without even like her actually, instilling it in me or sitting me down like do X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z is more so I just picked up on the habits of what she was doing, and that kind of just fueled me through my life now. So yeah.
All right, now shout out to Mama. Come on, shout out to Mama. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. So, Roger, we want to sip out all the tea on your creative development of your amazing Finding Me franchise. What was the most valuable lesson that creative journey provided for you?
Most valuable lesson that I guess it was having a dream for as long as I did, because I wanted to be a filmmaker before I even knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. So as a kid, I used to watch, there would be the Star Wars movies, but what I would really be watching on PBS is the making of Star Wars. And I would be interested in seeing how that was done. And my brother and I would go in the backyard, take styrofoam and try to make a starship out of that or something like that.
I love it.
I guess the valuable lesson is I've always been a storyteller. I've always been a creator. My cousin, I remember she told me, even when we were kids, you were directing us, and I didn't know I was doing that. But I was saying, let's do this and let's do that. So it's just been something that's been in me. So as an artist, it's not something I do, it's who I am.
All right now. I love it's who I am. I hope y'all out there taking notes because listen, on a journey of becoming who you are, it ain't easy. But when you know who you are, the power that you have, okay? Kenyon, you shared that as an actor, don't attach yourself to a storyline, because you said it's ever evolving. That's some good advice, especially with someone like myself who's an actor, especially when you have a highly creative team that you're working with. What are two more acting tips that you can give, that you can share with us for such actors out here in these streets?
I guess for me, I guess it's not memorize your dialogue. Once you memorize your dialogue, you can figure everything else out after that. And memorize your dialogue, and no matter how much or small it can be, and then if you can or you get the opportunity, act it out different ways before you're actually filming it. And even when you're doing filming in different takes, you can just try it different ways. And what else? Always listen. Don't always rely on trust your scene partner, but don't always rely on them solely sticking straight to the dialogue. Like listen to keywords that may switch up that will cause your dialogue to switch because you don't want to say something that is opposite to what they're saying because you're so stuck on your dialogue that you can't let it flow in the scene in it because sometimes it'll still come out to be really good even if you're not sticking to the script verbatim. Like you can say something like small like I went to X, Y, and Z, and they're saying it, but you were supposed to say I went somewhere else. So you as the same partner should be able to pick up on, oh, they didn't say they went to 16th Street this time. They said they went to 18th Street. So now you can come back with like, oh, you went to 18th Street. Let it keep flowing because sometimes you don't want to mess the rhythm up if it's not totally detrimental to the scene or the script.
Great
advice. Better come on, drop those gems. Right, I was going to say, drop those gems, and those are things that I haven't heard. Some of I haven't heard. One I haven't heard, and the other one I haven't heard in a long time. So you better come on, gems. Y'all better write it down. That's why we're recording it because you can go back and watch. Okay, so we're gonna keep it moving. Roger, in addition to your same gender love creations, your works that you create, James and Danielle and Philly showcases your skill on heterosexual love creative works. What inspires you for your representation for both creative sides with your creative works?
What inspires me is that my every existence isn't my homosexuality. There's parts of me that's just a regular person. I love in all of its forms, and so I have a lot of female friends who are heterosexual or homosexual, and vice versa. So I as a creator, I want to be able to stretch my wings. When I was doing Finding Me, people loved to label, and I understand why. They love to label Finding Me as a gay series, a gay film, but it never was that for me. It was a story about a person, a guy, Fabian Allen, who happens to be gay, and his friend is bisexual, and his other best friend is a heterosexual girl. That's just the world I created, the environment I wanted. And so the stories that I wanted to keep continuing telling is stories about people who just happens to be this or that. And so that's how I try to tell my stories.
Gotcha. Awesome. Wow. I love it. I definitely was able to catch something in it. Was able to find myself and finding me, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah, yes, sir. Keep it up. Like the creative things that we do as creatives, it's a lot of times not for us. It's just we're just vessels, and if we just pay attention to what's in us and what comes out of us, we're good. You're doing it. You guys are doing it, and I think that's pretty dope. And so, Kenyon, with your aspect of the character of Mr. Morris, do you most and least connect with in your real life? So, give me a little bit of what you connect with and what you don't connect with when it comes to your character.
Okay, I guess I don't subscribe, or the whole aspect of the DL thing. I don't get into that. I don't subscribe to that.
Come on, I don't subscribe. I love it.
That part of it. Outside of that, I think like now, currently in my life, I'm kind of like in this place where Morris is now, like trying to like figure out what's best for him in terms of relationship and who you should be dating, who you shouldn't be dating. So I think those aspects of the trial and error I can relate to, not so much of the recklessness he goes through too much, but I can relate to the finding yourself part of it.
Gotcha. And what's the best life, again, Kenyon, sorry. What's the best life lesson that you said you learned from Morris Chadwick's most unpleasant character attribute, or any character attributes, really, if you don't have anything from Morris, but what's the best life lesson that you've learned from the unpleasant attributes?
The most life. Live in your truth. Don't try to bury it because it's just
Mm.
gonna explode recklessly. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing because you got to have an outlet to that, and it's going to come out in other ways. So, and you're going to spend all this time trying to like hide or present this perfect package or whatever.
Mm.
And maybe the bow is just not fluffy enough. Maybe it's not wrapped too tight. It's okay. Maybe the tape didn't stick this one time. It's all right. So,
Yes, sir. I get it. I totally get it. Okay, cool. So, Roger, in writing your diverse abundance of characters, have any of your characters taught you anything about yourself? And if it was, what was it?
I would say, oof, that's a good question. Maybe Fabian, because Fabian was very loosely based off of me when I was a kid. Fabian from Finding Me, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
when I was much younger, and that idealistic way of looking at things. And I still have a bit of that idealism and romanticism of the way I look at things. But I've learned in my, I won't say how, well, 45 years, that
Come on now.
um, it's not good to stay in the fantasy because while you're creating this, reality is still there. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a hard fall from the fantasy that you've created. So I think Fabian has taught me that in his journey. And I think working with the actors that I have been working with has
Mm-hmm.
taught me a lot as well, especially in this series, Talks Myself, in this incarnation, this season. This is an interesting for me cast because the personalities are very different, and it's been helping me to see things very differently.
Got you. All right, awesome. So tell me this: what's been the hardest part about being an independent film creator? And then on the flip side, what's been the most enjoyable part?
I say the same thing all the time, and I want to change my answer because it's the same. But I would say the hardest thing is resources, and when you don't have the resources, trying to figure out how to make something come together. Now, the double-edged sword of that is by me doing it for as long as I have, I've been able to create. When I create something and it looks great, I'm excited by it. Like, I can't believe I did that with nothing. And then the reality is the person who's watching it, they don't care of all the sweat and blood and tears that you put into making it happen. They just love the story. So that's the great part of it. But that's the tough part, is resources. The most enjoyable part is not having someone else uh, uh, dampen my creative choices. So when you have other people's money involved, they feel like they have a say. And as an artist, there's a duality. You want to be able to tell your art, but when money gets involved, people feel like they have an ownership over your art. And so it's a struggle there. And so far, I haven't had that experience a lot. I have in some instances, but not to the degree that I feel like I don't want to do this anymore. So that's
Gotcha.
what I do like about it.
Because we're artists and we're sensitive about our shit. Got it. I
Yes.
copy her. I got you. Kenyon, so tell me this. What's been the most important thing to remember when choosing a role?
On Instagram and Twitter, it's Director Roger. And you can watch all my shows on OMEproTv.com. OMEproTv.com.
Which soon to be Amazon Prime one day, y'all, coming soon. Remember, you said it here. You said I pay attention. All right, Kenyon, talk to me, let people know where to find you and all that good stuff. If they want to reach out and touch.
Kenyon L. O'Brien across all social media platforms. It's very easy and simple. You just type it in, you'll find me. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. If you want to hit me up, DMs. Can't say I'll get to them if they're not. They get in that off folder, the off folder.
Right.
So be patient. I'll get around to it. But yeah, if any advice or anything, yeah, Kenyon L. O'Brien, hit me up.
Awesome.